This is Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. These are the leading top stories. First up, a week of high-density operation led to the arrest of more than 700 suspects, and the Lihurusi Regional Court hands down a 48-month sentence for contravening of Custom and Excise Act. In the business news, the electricity minister has unveiled plans in the private sector transmission projects, and in the sports news, the St. David's Marist honors Proteas captain Temba Bavuma. We begin here. Police in the Northwest have, during the weekly high-density Shanela operation, apprehended a total of 761 suspects for a variety of crimes, ranging from burglaries at residential and non-residential premises, aggravated robberies, possession of drugs, and driving under the influence of alcohol. That's amongst others. Here's police spokesperson in the Northwest Province, Brigadier Sabata Mokgwabona.
The operations led by the district commissioners were conducted from Monday the 24th until Sunday the 30th of March 2025. Out of the 761 arrested suspects, it is worth noting that 470 were arrested by the detectives as those on the circulated wanted suspects list. In addition, 18 illegal immigrants were arrested for being in the country in contravention of the Immigration Act, while others were apprehended for illegal mining in Klerksdorp and Hartbeespoort Dam policing areas. As part of the Shanela weekly operations, the police addressed identified crime generators through joint law enforcement compliance inspections to enforce the provisions of the Liquor and Second-Hand Goods Act. 4 unlicensed liquor outlets were closed and large quantities of liquor and items such as refrigerators were confiscated. In Sun City, a team comprising various police units arrested 2 suspects on Thursday, 28 March 2025 at Mokwase, where they were attending court as accused in a case of murder allegedly committed in September last year. The pair was arrested in connection with the kidnapping of a 32-year-old man on Sunday, 23 March 2025 in Lidak village near Sun City. During the arrest, police confiscated a red Toyota Corolla and a choking apparatus. The duo, that is Zamile Zinzile, aged 37, and Robert Khakatsane, aged 33, appeared today in the Mokwase Magistrate Court for kidnapping. Meanwhile, the search for the kidnapping victim paid off when his body was found today along the R566 road between Tlaseng and Titsing villages outside Rustenburg. Similarly, the team arrested the third suspect, aged 34. He is expected to appear in court on Thursday, the 3rd of April 2025, together with the initial accused, and they will all be facing charges of kidnapping and murder. In Bermansdrev, members of Mahikeng Flying Squad were on routine patrol duties on Monday, the 17th of March 2025, when they stopped a suspicious blue Toyota Avanza on the R49 Mahikeng Zirast Road for a search. The action led to the discovery of copper cables in the boot of the car. The suspects, who indicated that they are both security officers, were arrested for possession of suspected stolen goods. Further investigation into the matter established that the cables were stolen from a transformer in Zirast.
In other news, the Lihurusi Regional Court has sentenced 43-year-old Joseph Kusekwa, a Zimbabwean national, to 48 months in prison or a fine of 40,000. Additionally, he received a wholly suspended sentence of 24 months or a fine of 20,000 suspended for 5 years on the condition that he is not convicted of contravening the provisions of the Customs and Excise Act 91 of 1964 during the suspension period. Kusekwa was convicted of failing to declare goods upon entering South Africa. Now, the conviction stems from an incident back in 2023 when a truck with 2 trailers was stopped and searched at the Skilspatshaak port of entry. The driver, Kusekwa, then granted permission for the search, which led to the discovery of 1,119 master cases of Derby cigarettes concealed in the truck. Kusekwa was unable to provide documentation for the cigarettes. A South African Revenue Service, that SARS custom officer, called to the scene confirmed that while the cigarettes complied with the Tobacco Products Control Act regulations, they were not declared in terms of the Customs and Excise Act. Now, during the sentencing, State Advocate Kane Nontendra emphasized the illicit trade in goods results in significant tax losses and negatively impacts the legal cigarette market. In more news, from the 1st of May, while it looks like VAT will be increased for the fourth time in the country's history by 0.5 percentage point, the Value Added Tax Act was first introduced to South Africa in 1991 at 10%. It was then increased to 14% in 1993, then 15% in 2018. However, it has never dropped. Now, the African National Congress said that if the economy improved, government could take the unprecedented step of reducing the value-added tax. Speaking at a media briefing on Tuesday, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula said that the VAT hike doesn't have to be permanent. Moving on to international news now, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz says that the military will expand its operation in Gaza and seize large areas of the territory, incorporating them into what he described as security zones. In a statement on Wednesday, Katz said that the expanded operation aimed to destroy and clear the area of terrorists and terrorist infrastructure and would require a large-scale evacuation of Palestinians. It comes after local hospitals said at least 15 Palestinians were killed in the territory overnight. There is a growing sense that a new major Israeli ground offensive is looming in Gaza, with reports that Israeli forces began operations in Rafah overnight. Now, the humanitarian situation across Gaza has dramatically worsened in recent weeks, with Israel refusing to allow aid into the Gaza Strip since the 2nd of March, the longest aid blockage since the war began. And after this, we take a look now at the business news. In the business news, Electricity Minister Dr. Ramokgopa has announced plans to implement a multi-billion rand transmission infrastructure project through the private sector. Now, this will involve the procurement of approximately 1,164 kilometers of 400 kV lines in the Northern Cape, Northwest and Gauteng. Now, the process will be led by the National Transmission Company of South Africa, which will be the buyer of the key infrastructure as the government ramps up its energy security efforts. The NTCSA is one of the entities under Eskom's legal separation process, namely generation, distribution and transmission, announced in President Cyril Ramaphosa's 2019 State of the Nation address. Now, Ramokgopa said to turn the country into a construction site, create jobs and see economic growth, the private sector has to be roped in to help in the rollout of the transmission lines.
We are looking to ensure that there's about 400 kV of transmission power lines with associated transformer infrastructure. So we're going to build 400 kV. The capacity of the lines is 400 kilovolts. And of course, there's going to be also transformers that are going to support that. What is the length of the transmission that we are announcing today is 1,164 kilometers of new transmission lines, and this, like I said, with associated transmission. It's going to be, the corridors are going to be in 3 provinces. It is in the Northern Cape. As you all know, that the Northern Cape has got the most efficient, reliable, and in fact, there has no match across the globe. Perhaps it's Chile and the Australian outback that has got the quality of irradiation that you are finding in the Northern Cape. And it's by no mistake that we have exhausted capacity in the Northern Cape. For us to continue to benefit from those assets, those endowments, we need to focus on the Northern Cape as an area of investment.
And that's all we have for the business news. Up next, we take a look at the sports. In cricket news now, St. David's Marist Inanda officially announced the renaming of the distinguished McGregor Oval to the Temba Bavuma Oval during an event held at the Sandton campus yesterday. Now, this renaming honors renowned alumnus Temba Bavuma, who is a highly respected South African cricketer, as well as captain of the Proteas, as well as a philanthropist. Now, he encouraged the young attendees to pursue their goals with determination and to remain mindful of the challenges that they may encounter along the way.
I do hope in my story that there are certain, experiences and lessons that everyone here can take from it. I think if there's one thing I'd say to the young students is, this was something that I was told when I was young, was to whatever is in your heart, whatever is in your mind, whatever you want to achieve, go with it with all that you have. Understand that there will be challenges along the way. That's a parcel of the journey. But if your love and passion is strong enough for the game, you'll be able to achieve it all, whatever it is that you want. But lastly, guys, thank you again. Big appreciation from my side. Thank you to the school as well for this gesture.
Moving on to soccer news now, Mamelodi Sundowns coach Miguel Cardoso stated that his team performed in the segments during their match against the Esperance de Tunis in the CAF Champions League quarter-final on Tuesday evening. Now, although the 1-0 victory was ultimately sufficient, while Mamelodi Sundowns could have celebrated their 1-0 triumph over Esperance in the first leg of the CAF Champions League quarter-finals, the outcome was overshadowed by incidents of fan violence. Now, Peter Shalulile scored the sole goal of the match shortly before the hour mark, and following the final whistle, disturbances erupted at the one end of the Loftus Versfeld. Now, the confrontations appeared to have been ignited after the conclusion of the match, as away fans commenced throwing objects at their opposing supporters. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team is back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.